Hey guys, it's the Chinaman here, and welcome to the first episode of our cricketing podcast. I'm here with our local Chinaman Ryan, and our other left arm wrist spinner Arjun. And today we're going to be going through the our test team for the Australian summer against India. How are we all?
I'm good.
Right.
Good.
How's
Yeah.
lockdown being, guys?
It's been excellent. I haven't left the house in 3 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah.
Definitely abiding by social distancing rules.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
We're going to start with the openers. So Ryan, who are your two openers for our test summer against India?
I've gone with an unchanged opening pair, so Warner and Burns.
Interesting. Any
What
reasons
about you,
why?
Will?
Oh, me? Well, I think,
Yeah.
why don't you go through your reasons for Warner and Burns first?
Well, first of all, Warner's record at home speaks for itself. Burns, I don't think you could justify dropping him. I mean, obviously his place is still in dispute, but I mean, I don't see how any other player can really do better than he did that summer. The summer against Pakistan and New Zealand. I don't see any reason to drop him just yet, anyway.
Arjun, your thoughts?
Well, I agree, I guess, because Burns, it's probably the fair decision, but I've made a change. This is probably biased, but I want Usman Khawaja back.
Interesting.
And my main reason is because at home he's a proven talent. He's been consistent. And also, if you look at his numbers, opening the batting, he's only opened 7 times compared to 66 times at 3. But he scored 484 runs at 96.8, including 200s, 250s. And I think that's his best position, and he needs to be utilised there more. And considering how good Marnus Labuschagne is, he'll never probably bat there again. So why not let him try?
Is your other opener Warner?
Yeah.
Right. Just the thing, if you look at Marsh Sheffield Shield stats from last year, Khawaja's average is currently sitting at 18.32, which is a bit of an issue considering he's an opener and you probably want the top 6 batsmen in the country batting in those positions. And I would say, given that average, he's not really the top 6 batsman right now.
Yeah. I guess my argument is more based on pedigree rather than current form.
Okay.
I would say Khawaja has a future opening in Australian cricket, but that's in the one-day side. I think he's a quality one-day batsman. He's a one-day specialist at this point. I don't see him playing another test again for Australia. Partly because of just how dreadful this Shield season has been. I mean, you could barely get into double figures until Christmas. And this is captaining his team.
If we ignore stats, ignore averages, he's definitely in the top 6 batsmen in Australia right now. But at the start of the summer,
stats and averages, I'm in the top 6 batsmen in Australia right now. What do you mean?
Yeah,
okay.
I wouldn't be disappointed if Burns plays, but that's my hope that Khawaja gets a go.
I think we all know that Burns will play. However, who would we pick? I think it's
true. I would pick Khawaja.
Yep. Now, my question to you both is: have either Joe Burns or Usman Khawaja got 3 wickets in 2 overs in a Big Bash game?
Yes, and that's very relevant.
So. I don't think
So you are making that choice.
Yes, so I'm going to bring to you my third option, which is Nick Maddinson to open with David Warner. Now, let me just remind you of Nick Maddison's scores during the most recent Shield season. I've got it here somewhere. Oh, my phone's crashing. Great.
Wait, so you're having Maddison with Warner, or is this for you?
Oh, yes, with Warner. Certainly not with Burns. I'm not going to be dropping Warner, no. Where did it go? Okay, forget it. But yeah, I don't think I've got a score under
780 runs at
780 runs at 86.66.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a score under 37 in there. He's clearly been the best batsman in domestic cricket, at least in Shield cricket in Australia in the last Shield season. Burns has had a good season. He averages about 50. He's been solid. But Madison has shown recently he's simply better, and I don't think Burns has done enough. To
Is there not? Is there reasons to justify dropping Burns for Madison?
He doesn't
Like,
do
how
much
can-
in
I
big
mean, he
teams.
wasn't
We're
special
playing
against New
India
Zealand.
here. I don't want like the occasional century. Maybe get one century in the season and a bunch of scores around 15, like he always does.
I just got one more thing about Khawaja.
Sure.
He was actually pretty bad when India came. So maybe if it was another summer, maybe give him a go back. But it might be a bit risky to give him a go against India, to be fair.
I think if we were playing Sri Lanka and the West Indies, I'd be picking Joe Burns. But against a team like India, I mean, he's going to get out in the first over at least 3 times in the series.
How can you say Madison's not like?
Because he's been so consistent. He doesn't get low scores.
One thing about Madison though, he was just so unbelievably bad. Like in his first test
In 2016.
career. Yeah, I know that's a while ago, and like he was batting.
Like my issue is like with the whole Madison thing, the Australian domestic bowling side, because obviously we have the four big quicks. So you got Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood, Pattinson, and then Nisa. Nisa doesn't really play that much because of Australia A and all that. So most of the time, in my opinion, the bowling in the Sheffield Shield isn't great, and the fact that Madison's scores are obviously he scored 7 scores above 50 in 10 innings. Yes, that's really good, but against bowling attacks that like you can't really compare them to like Boomerang.
But that's the only currency there is to get into the team in the first place. So
I would say pace bowling and Shield
Burns has been somewhat. I wouldn't say he's been
else.
proven, but he's shown that he's got potential and he's somewhat decent.
Has
so
Madison ever played
to drop him just yet? Anyway,
sorry, has Madison played in England county cricket?
I'm not sure.
Check.
I think he has played for Surrey. I don't know how he went though.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel he deserves a spot. I also feel he'd make a good ninth bowler.
I mean, he's just not gonna bowl.
Also, for our viewers at home, by the way, Ryan hates Madison's technique.
I wouldn't say I hate it. I just don't like
if you were to find it
how
in
he
one
goes
word,
about his
Ryan,
batting.
describe his technique in one word. What would you use?
Starting with H.
I mean, he's not technically brilliant, but he's definitely not.
You watch his 200. He plays big shots, and that's how.
Actually, to be fair, his whole
he
career,
did hit 23 sixes.
His career first class stats are not bad.
Sorry.
His career first class stats are pretty good. 85 games at 40.
Yeah,
that's solid.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has hit 669 fours, which has to count for something.
He's hit exactly 100 sixes, so.
He also has 3 wickets in T20s in 114 games.
Yeah, 2 of them I know really well. 3 of them? 2 of them. 3 of them.
I mean,
I just think it's too much of an out there choice still, to be honest.
I mean, their first class stats are very similar, but recently Madison has quite clearly been better for me. Burns, he's never stood out.
I can see Madison if Burns it's a 4-test series, right? If Burns flops in the first 2 tests, then I can see reason to change. But apart from that, I think Burns has done a reasonable job to maintain his place.
Also, you could say what helps is that first game at the Gabba, like Burns' home ground. So you sort of give him a bit more trust.
I mean, I also will say, I think Madison would have been picked for last summer if he hadn't had that mental health break. I think he's definitely in the prime spot for that open spot.
Was that before
definitely look at stats, and to say that Madison definitely wouldn't be selected is a bit harsh. I'd say, he was definitely in contention. Like he scored, this is back-to-back seasons with averages over 70 odd, right?
Yep.
And he's been pretty consistent the whole way through. I
don't know about the season.
Of course, they were looking at him, but I think for that
he was picked in that original squad, and in that trial game, Burns made 2 in 15, but Madison withdrew the day before. That's to Petrovsky, I think, or something like that. And I think
if you look at his stats also against England Lions, he got a 50 as well.
Remember, also, I've got no doubt that if Madison had played last summer, he'd still be playing this summer. Because it's just about keeping the spot. And I mean,
just the circumstances weren't favourable. That's it, really.
I mean, what were Pakistan ever going to offer to Burns? Of course, he's done okay against Pakistan and
Yeah.
New Zealand, a very weak in New Zealand side by the end of it.
I mean, that's why I'm saying like give Burns maybe one or two tests at least, just to figure out
Yeah.
Also,
whether he's actually, because like obviously there's a big thing about partnerships at the top, right? Burns and Warner seem like they work well together. Like
Yeah, that's
the
true.
commentators
That'd
make
be
a
my
huge
main point
about
for
that.
yeah,
Burns.
left right hand is pretty good.
Yeah. So, like, I still go back to my point. Like, give it one or two tests and then make a decision about whether they want to keep Burns or not.
And
one
obviously,
more thing.
obviously, how the first few rounds of Shield go will also be important.
Yeah, well, Madison has to score runs for sure.
Do you think they'll fit Shield in before?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think it'd be very dangerous to go into a test summer without having.
Oh, there's also the test versus Afghanistan, right?
Yep. That'd be interesting. Madison.
Would you say those bowling
as far as I know,
attacks are
he's a
better
pretty
than
good
Shield?
spin.
Right.
No comment.
Okay. Well, should we move on?
Yeah. I think we've all got the same 3 and 4
guys.
though.
Who have you gone with for the 3 and 4 for the Australian team? I'm interested.
Sean Marsh and Mitch Marsh.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, very fair.
How about
you can't really go against that.
Yeah, you're agreeing with Arjun. Yeah.
Right.
I've gone for the wild card one here. I put Marnus Labuschagne at 3 and then Steve Smith at 4.
Oh, I didn't see that one
I don't
coming.
know. I mean, he's a leg spinner though.
I mean, I feel we need more spin options. I feel, Madison and Head aren't quite enough. I mean, we already have Wade as the 5th bowler.
Madison and Head.
We already have Wade as the 5th bowler, but I reckon we just need 2 more spinners to go with Madison and Head.
True.
So
Yeah, I think they're
that we
definitely in the
actually
team
have
because of their
9 bowlers
bowling.
in the team. And
Definitely
Warner
'cause of their
can bowl
bowling.
some off spin too, actually.
Right.
I think Payne has a Shield wicket. So, I mean, we are building a team of all-rounders here.
Well,
Yeah,
Wade's the
right.
only true all-rounder, to be fair. You can't
True,
say
we'll
all
get
the
to
others are all-rounders.
But are there any arguments against Labuschagne and Smith at 3 and 4? I think it'd be harsh to drop them.
I don't think anyone. I think
No,
that'd be
no.
3 and 4 for every team in the world, arguably.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think there'd be a riot if either of those two were dropped from the test team.
Yeah.
Anyway.
5 and 6 is interesting.
5 and 6. Arjun, who's your 5 and 6?
So I think the order doesn't really matter, but it's going to be Head and Wade. But personally, I think Head should be at 5. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter. But it'll definitely be a big test for both of them.
Yeah.
Especially, I think Wade, because he's a bit older, even though you could argue age doesn't matter as much. But still, because the middle order wasn't tested at all really last summer.
Yeah, I'm going to say I agree with that. Head and Wade. I mean, the only question is whether you put an all-rounder at 6. We never really got to test that against Bangladesh like we wanted to. The problem is there isn't a standout all-rounder in my mind anyway. We've got 4 mediocre ones.
I reckon maybe you could say Melbourne or Sydney if it's like a dead pitch, extra bowling options or something.
Yeah, although I do have Badminton already, so I'm not too worried. Wade actually is that bowling option if you think about it. Wade's it's beautiful. Like Wade is the only genuine all-rounder in the Australian team, like really in the Australian cricketing setup. He bats.
I back the decision with Head and Wade. It's just that the main thing with those selections is they get to 30 and then they get out, so they need consistent scores.
I'd say Head gets all the 50s.
Yeah, but he doesn't. The problem is he doesn't convert. He always gets himself.
Head got
out.
that 100,
That's
right?
the biggest thing.
He got that 100.
Yeah. But they're too few and far between. Like they need. That's the thing. The main thing about playing in Australia is all about the consistency. If you don't have consistency, then the selectors are on you instantly.
I mean, yeah, Wade gets a few centuries and a lot of 20s and 30s. Head's more like a 40 or 50 player. He's more of a J route,
Also, it's funny to think 2 years ago, out of the batting lineup, Head's the only one who was part of that lineup. Yeah. So maybe that could help him, like a bit of experience already against the same bowling attack.
If there were like 2 players that you'd think to replace them, who would they be?
I mean,
we can go on to this
that
later.
soon. when we do our second teams.
We'll have to wait and see, Ryan.
Okay.
True. I mean, so are you going with Head and Wade too, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean yeah.
I would
So
say
now they're the
due to
best
what I
options
said
5
about-
and 6.
So due to what I said about Wade getting 100s and 20s as opposed to 40s and 50s like Head gets, that's why I'd still keep Wade at 5. I do think Head is the number 5 in Australian cricket going forward when Wade retires. But I think for now, in our best 11, Wade is the number 5 still. And he's probably still a better batsman at the moment. He just gets
I agree with
on.
that.
Although people do like to hate him.
I mean, realistically, they're not going to mind which way they bat, to be honest.
Yeah.
5 and 6, too much.
Wade is much more of an alpha when he faces fast bowling.
Okay.
Fast bowling. So, okay, keeper.
I think despite like all the like backlash, it's a no-brainer really.
It's you don't. It's like you don't need to think about it. Like Payne's got this. Like he's miles ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
In fact, he's even playing miles ahead of everyone. Kerry's done fuck all in shell cricket.
And
I
it
mean,
actually
to be
seems
fair-
like Payne's getting better with the bat as well. to be
Yeah, I
honest.
agree. He puts in knocks when the team needs it. He gets gritty 30s or 40s.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really gritty.
He bats with the tail really well. We've always known that. I mean, I still remember grinding out that draw in Dubai against Pakistan. That was amazing.
Also pumped for the verbal battles with Payne as well.
Yeah. And because he plays for Tasmania, he gets so much practice batting with the tail because the top order can never make more than about 80. And, you see those partnerships with Lawrence and Smith. This is what we need for the Australian team. And we get, gets to Melbourne third day and we decide we're just going to be 5 for 70, even though India have hit 650. That's when we need Payne to step up to get his 300.
Yeah.
How about bowlers?
Okay,
what do you think?
bowlers. And I think
It's a 3 out of 4. For
I think there's
fast
2 in
bowlers.
particular everyone's definitely going to have. And for me, that's Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, there's a 2
yes,
very obvious
yeah.
options.
Really ones that are really given. So who are your other 2, Arjun?
Well, I think Mitchell Starc has done really well in 2019 to regain a lot of confidence, and especially from like the greater public, I'd say, because he was copying a lot of stick because he doesn't use his pace well, lets off the pressure, etc., etc. But in the summer, he just showed. I think did he tweak his action a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's
That helped
left
a lot.
arm doesn't go as high or something like that.
So you could say like weekend batting teams, whatever, but I think he has proven that he's the second best fast bowler in Australia.
Yep. And your 4th bowler?
And then injuries aside, got to go back to Josh Hazelwood.
Love that. Yep. That's what I like to hear. Ryan, are you the same or
Exactly the same.
You're the same? Yep. I will go with Josh Hazelwood because he is my 3rd cousin. And that's just boys. And also he's just such a good bowler.
Guest person, right?
Yeah.
We'll get
I'll
Hazelwood on the
definitely run
podcast.
one day, yeah. But I'm actually going to go with James Pattinson for my 4th bowler. I think he is a more consistent bowler with the old ball than Mitchell Starc. I feel Starc becomes almost useless to the team unless he's bowling either the new ball when it's in the first 2 or 3 overs or against the tail. He doesn't get big wickets enough like I feel Pattinson can. I feel Pattinson's almost at the level of Cummins and Hazelwood. I feel he's still a decent new ball bowler himself. And he's just been performing really well. He's back at peak fitness. He's looking much better injury-wise. I obviously think they'd rotate the bowlers throughout the summer. I think they'd all play. But for me, in our best 11, James Pattinson over Mitchell Starc.
So to start the series, do you reckon Pattinson should play over Starc?
Yeah, especially in Brisbane. He's a Queenslander. Yes, I would. Yeah.
Well, what I say to that is, I think that makes the bowling attack too one-dimensional.
That's fair.
Because, like Pattinson and Hazelwood, I guess they're sort of similar, but like definitely because 3 right armers. And
I will say that wasn't a
Yeah,
problem.
Starc. That's true. Starc plays a huge role for Nathan Lyon because of the
True.
foot marks he creates coming over the wicket. And
Also, I
and
think,
he creates some foot marks outside right-handers off stumps for Nathan Lyon to use later in the game.
and if you want to target like short ball against India, Stark would be the best player for that as well.
Yep, that's fair.
I feel like your comments about Stark with the new ball and the old ball, like they could be justified like 12 months ago, but the way he bowled in the summer, I feel like with that action change, his pace was up, his rhythm was good, he bowled pretty consistently. I see like no reason why like he's worse than Pattinson, for instance. Like I mean, Pattinson's really good. Like I could fully justify having Pattinson in the team or Stark, but to start the series off or to justify having Pattinson over Stark in your best 11 is a bit
I mean, I think
far-fetched in my
Stark's
opinion.
definitely our best limited overs bowler. But he just doesn't have the consistency for me for the test team. He's obviously very good, and I think he's very close. And I still have him playing at least 2 of the tests. But
Yeah,
for me,
like there's no doubt that the fast bowling stocks will be.
Yep, that's
all of them would have to go.
Yes, okay, that seems to be our teams. That's our first 11. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go through our second 11. So as if we were going to play, a first 11 versus Australia A game before the Test summer, like we sort of did before the Ashes, who we would put in that second 11, and also sort of going through. Actually, why don't first of all we go through who our subs would be for the Test
Wait,
squad.
sorry, I was going to
let's
say
do it.
one more thing about the bowlers.
Oh sure.
That I guess a good argument for Hazelwood, for Pattinson, could be the last time Australia bowled to India, they got 600.
Yep.
So and that they by the end it seemed like the Indian team started to figure them out. And Pattinson, can't remember the last time he's bowled to India, probably like 2011, 2012 around then. So just something new, it could throw them off. So
I mean, yeah,
like I remember in the 2010, 2011 series, he bowled pretty well. But he's a whole different player. So,
do we really want to come up with the same bowling attack we had last time we played India at home every game? Certainly not, because it didn't work eventually.
But I certainly think there'll be rotation. Also, based off that Ashes series, they rotate a lot. So
yeah. Okay, so actually, first of all, we're gonna look at who else we'd have in our test squad. So our squad of 15, we need 4 subs. My first sub is Joe Burns. Obviously, you guys are gonna have him as a sub, but I think we need him as the backup opener. I'd have Burns and Maddinson. It just depends how Maddinson goes for the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's fair.
So who's your sort of batting sub? Your batting backup?
I've gone
for Khawaja. Oh, you go with Burns.
Yeah, we're the opposite, basically.
We're the opposite.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't actually have Khawaja in my team. I think he's hasn't been good enough. I wouldn't have him as a backup. We've sort of gone through the reasons I think for why Burns and Khawaja were already.
Yeah.
So I'll say my second sub, I have gone for another batsman for a middle order batting, and I've gone for Curtis Patterson. I think he's never done anything wrong since he got dropped before the Ashes, which is fair enough. But in Australian conditions, he never really did anything that deserved getting dropped. I think he's the obvious
fair enough.
backup batsman for that 5 and 6 spotting, or for any spot in case something happens.
He had a decent shield as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been good.
Wasn't he injured?
Yeah, he was injured for a while. That's true.
Yeah.
But he played the second half of the Shield, if I remember correctly, and he's just been decent. He's got the second highest average in Test cricket. I think it'd be stupid not to have him.
That's after like 2 games against Sri Lanka in Australian conditions.
Yep.
144.
Yep.
So,
I'll be honest, I sort of forgot about
still
Patterson.
Relatively untested.
But, I feel everyone's sort of forgotten about Patterson. It's true he's untested, but he's done nothing to deserve.
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong to justify being dropped.
Ryan, surely you back your Hurstville boy.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a second batsman in the squad, or have you gone for all-rounders and bowlers?
I wasn't.
You
go first, Ryan. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've gone with, in fact, Cameron Green. It's a bit of a left-fielded one, but I'm assuming the Sheffield Shield starts before the Test series against India starts. Yeah. And if you can bowl, I haven't actually seen him bowl personally, but I've heard that he can bowl 140 plus. And if you look at his batting average from last year and the way he played, I think he started batting at 8, and then by the end of the season, he finished batting at 5. And
yeah, that's right.
His batting was insane. So
Um,
you could almost justify him getting into the team just on his batting, but the fact that he can bowl 140 plus is huge. And he's really young, 21. So there's a lot of future there.
is Arjun your second squad member?
Yeah, I was also torn to like whether have another proper batsman, but I think realistically, if there'd be a change, it'd be Head or Wade, and like either of them could just go up to 5 and that's 6.
Yep.
Where I'll also have Cam Green,
Green.
because I'm just like really excited by like new players, to be honest, and I think
Realistically
goes.
though, it's going to be Mitchell Marsh replacing either Wade or Head. That would be the only change I could see the selectors making, just based on the Ashes. Was it the Ashes? No,
Yeah.
based on the series in the summer.
The 5th test.
Yeah.
He played the 5th test. Yeah.
I'd say maybe Henrique's based on Shield form. He's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The problem with for Cameron Green is his bowling isn't that proven yet. His batting is very, very exciting. He's had one great season batting in the Shield, and he can bowl fast. But he's never been a frontline pace bowler for WA. He's always been sort of a reserve that played a Shield game every now and then. And he was playing because they had so many injuries at the start of the season, and at that point he started making loads of runs. But we're yet to see how he comes back. I don't know if he's properly bowling yet, or whether it's going to be good by Shield or whatever.
I guess he has to prove his match fitness, yeah. Otherwise, like this, if he can't bowl, then I don't see there'd be any reason for him to be included.
Yeah.
So one promising thing for him is he's got a lot of praise from like Tim Payne and Ricky Ponting recently. So that's truly a good sign.
He's a promising batsman, but so is Petrovsky. So is lots of other people that could be in that spot in the squad. He really has to prove his bowling first, I think, before he actually deserves that all-rounder spot.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, like they wouldn't drop one of Head or Wade unless they're like pretty bad, because they've proven themselves so far. Like they're pretty far ahead of the rest, to be honest.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so for my third option, I've gone for 2 bowlers for my last squad members. My first one's Mitchell Starc, for obvious reasons. I didn't put him in the main one. I'm gonna have a guess that you guys have both put James Pattinson as one of your reserves.
Yep.
That's fair. I think we've already talked about those two. So my fourth member is actually Michael Neser. I haven't gone for a spinner in the squad purely because we don't have a good second spinner in Australia. Which is a bad thing, but there isn't much to be done about it at the moment. I'm gonna look around Swepson, Pope, Zampa. Like none of them are good enough right now to be that second spinner. None of them have done anything in Shield on Australian pitches, which is where this series is getting played.
Apparently, I read articles, and it's apparently because of the Duke ball.
Well,
I don't know.
No, it's only because they only used the Duke's ball after Big Bash. But now they're changing it to Kookaburra the whole season.
Yeah, I know they're going back to Cookers now. So Arjun, who's your fourth reserve?
Well, I've also gone for Michael Neser, but I still think they'll pick a spinner just for Sydney.
Okay.
Like as an extra player. But yeah, Neser, I think he's kind of unlucky. He's like forever been that 12th man, and then now he's not even the 12th man because Pattinson.
Yep.
But yeah, I think maybe one day he'll get his chance, but he's just likely just squad strength. But yeah, you never know. I don't think he's good enough to be number 6, to be honest. Unless you do Payne 6 and him 7, but even that's kind of risky.
Yeah, his batting has dropped off a bit. He had the season before last in the Shield. He was batting really well. He was getting 70s and 80s. He was just looking really solid, and he did bat 6 and 7 at points for Queensland. Now he's really focused on his bowling. Last Shield season he got 33 wickets at an average of 17. He's been quite clearly the best bowler in the Shield. Because he only played 6 matches. He would have got the most wickets if he played in full season. He's just been insane. He's clearly our best backup bowler, and I do hope he gets a test at some point this summer, which he probably will if there's an injury. So Ryan, your fourth member?
I've gone with Neser as well. I mean, you've just stated all the reasons. I mean, he's a class act, but just unfortunately hasn't gotten his chance yet. Unfortunate, but what it is what it is.
Okay, so I think it's time we start building our second 11. if we were going to have a second, I'd have an Australian A side, if you will. So I'm going to start off with my openers. Obviously, we're going to have the 4 people that are reserves for the squad in this. But my openers are Joe Burns and Marcus Harris. For me, it was Harris, Khawaja, or Bancroft here. For me, I sort of stated why I don't want Khawaja anymore. And Harris, he's struggled a bit in the Ashes. He struggled a bit recently, that's why he got dropped. But in Shield, he's been solid enough to, I think, to be our sort of 4th opener at the moment. He had a decent Shield season. It wasn't amazing, and it's only the season before that he got 1,000 runs, and I think he was the top run scorer the season before. Got 1,100 runs. I think he's still around the Australian Test setup, and he's still trying to work his way back in, and he could easily get back in the next few years. Arjun,
definitely. Harris definitely shows shades of Warner, though. I reckon the way he bats.
Yep. He's much more beta though.
Yeah, I'm a bit all over the place, to be honest. Like, I wasn't sure, but I guess I'll go Nick Madison.
Yeah.
Because I think he was definitely going to be in my team. I wasn't sure at like 2 or 3, but yeah, I'll go with him. And I think we've said enough about him. So.
Yeah, if that's possible, but yeah. Ryan, who's your second opener?
So obviously my first opener is Khawaja, which I've stated earlier, but I've gone a little left, gone for Daniel Hughes. It's a very interesting option.
I actually had Dan Hughes initially as well.
But I see merit in trying to get him around the Australian team. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. Not obviously in the OD in the one dayers, he's been one of the best batsmen in the competition, if not the best. But I think over the last like 2 years or 3 years or so, he's really developed his game in the Sheffield Shield. I think his average. He was selected in the Sheffield Shield squad, best team. He got 665 runs,
team, I can
44.
Right now. He's all right. He wasn't amazing. He averaged 44. There was quite a few people better.
I mean, realistically for me, it was between him and Nick Madison. But I have to back my local boy, right?
Yeah. I mean, Harris still averaged 49 this Shield season, which is very good. I mean, it's a good Shield average. You want people averaging 50 in Shield that play for Australia.
It's true.
442 runs at 49. He did miss some games. I'd still like you for him over Hughes, who hasn't. He's been okay in Shield, but he hasn't done quite enough to be an Australia asset for me. But it would be a classic Australian selection picking for the wrong format, like having a great Marsh Cup player picked for the Test side or the T20 side for no reason.
I didn't realise how good his list day stats are.
Yeah, his list day stats insane.
Yep. So your two were. Your first
I had
one?
Burns and Madison.
Burns, yeah, that's right. Burns, obviously. Okay, so 3 and 4. I'll go with mine. I've gone for Shaun Marsh at 3. Domestic Cricket Player of the Year. He hasn't retired from international cricket yet, I think, has he? Hope not.
No, he hasn't.
I don't think he will. He'll just keep hoping he's in the team.
Yeah, Marshes don't retire. He'd probably still get picked when he was 50, but I mean, he's playing well enough to be in this Australia A side. I think if this was a legitimate thing, he might not get picked because he's too old and they want young talent. But I think he's in our best 22. And I've gone for Will Petrovsky at 4. Exciting young batsman. He's been very impressive in the Shield. Obviously, this depends on his mental health and whether he feels ready to play. But I think we certainly want him getting around the Australian setup. So, Ryan, you're 3 and 4.
Okay, so for number 3, I've gone with Shaun Marsh as well. I mean, I think over the last few years, obviously he hasn't shown his potential in the Test arena, but domestically, he's been probably the best batsman for a while. Over a long period of time, he's been one of the most consistent.
Yep.
Number 4, I've gone with Moses Henriques. I think he was the joint Shield Player of the season. That's nothing really else needs to be said. He's scored a lot of runs this season, often at times of pressure, at average of 51.2, 200s. I mean, obviously his conversion rate isn't great. So 3 scores over 50 in 12 games, but
That's true.
with a stacked New South Wales side, I mean, in the latter half of the
But,
season,
yeah,
it's difficult to score runs.
I think that's fair. I do have Henriques later on. Arjun, you're 3 and 4.
I'm a bit like confused about what order I should go, because I guess a lot of my batsmen are kind of like similar mold, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't have Sean Marsh. I agree he's like pretty class in domestic cricket, but I don't think he'll ever get a go again or like be considered again, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like may as well, like even if they ever do an A game, whatever, may as well try other people. So I guess I'll go. I don't know if he bats at 3, but Pukowski.
Yeah, he can. He used to
He
go
bats at 3 for
Yeah,
Victoria.
Pukowski and Patterson.
Yep.
So I think we've pointed out their merits. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I sort of agree with that. So yeah, 5 and 6. I've gone with players that you guys have both already mentioned. I've got Henriques and Patterson. The only reason I've got Patterson low is because I think if he ever plays for Australia, is going to be the number 6. So I'd probably have Patterson at 5 or 6 in this A team, even though he could bat higher up because he's probably a better batsman. And same with Henriques. He'd also only ever come into Australia as a 6, so it would make more sense, I think, in the A game to play them there. And we've sort of talked about
realistically, the batting order doesn't matter. You pick your top 6 batters every time, no matter what team it is.
The question is Henriques a legitimate all-rounder option? I'm not sure. Is his bowling good enough is the real question. He's definitely out of the 4. I think out of, maybe Cameron Green you could argue, but it's sort of the same problem. But out of him, Marsh, Stoinis, Green, which were the 4 that Langer was looking at.
I know Langer said that, but I think Henriques is just a batsman nowadays, really.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even bowl in shorter formats. So
but he barely bowled in Shield, right?
He started to bowl a bit more in Shield, but he has to really bowl better if he wants to be a serious all-rounder for the Australian team.
Yeah, because he bowls like low 120s now.
Yep. One thing I will say is that I considered Marcus Stoinis quite closely for this team as well. Like he's in all forms of domestic cricket, he's had an amazing season. He's one of the best Marsh Cup players. He was decent in the Shield. He was close to my team at the tournament, I think. He wasn't that far behind Henriques, and he actually is bowling better than all the other all-rounder options. I think he's certainly got a future in Test cricket for Australia. I don't know when that is, but I think he's around. Obviously,
one of the most talked about players.
But he's worked hard at longer formats, and I think he's getting back. I know he's got dropped from the one-day team, but I think he's going to get back into both of those longer format teams.
Stoinis' stats are interesting. He's got the most 50s tied.
Right.
So 5. But like, he couldn't convert any of them. Yeah, this season. He only averaged 30. He averaged 30 despite 5 50s.
Yeah, Arjun,
so it's the 50 or out.
Yeah. What's your 5 and 6, Arjun?
5 and 6.
Yeah.
I've got like the 2 all-rounders that Langer mentioned, I guess. So Green and Enriquez. Probably Enriquez first, but yeah. I think Enriquez, like, I don't think he'll get a go, but he's got enough experience to be considered like with those guys. So
yeah, he'd probably captain this team, I think. Maybe like Carey, but he'd be up there. Ryan, you're 5 and 6.
Okay, so I'm playing 5 bowlers. So at 6, I've got Carey as my keeper. And at 5, I've mentioned him earlier, but Cameron Green, and you guys mentioned as well.
7, you mean?
No.
Or 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Would you bet Green or Carey higher?
Just off his last Sheffield season, I would bet Green at 5.
Carey does bat 4 or 5.
Because he batted at 5, where he got those hundreds.
Yeah, okay.
And Carey's like a versatile player. I mean, he's batted from 7 to 4 across many formats. So I think he's pretty versatile to bat anywhere.
Number 1 technically, but yeah.
Well, he batted. He batted between 7 and 5 for South Australia, right?
Right, okay.
Or did he bat?
I
And
thought he
then
batted,
obviously for ODIs he
have
batted
head.
4.
They don't have
Or
head.
4 in 2020 he batted 4. I don't know. Not sure I thought.
I'm
Okay.
just going to say, according to Wikipedia, like the current Australia 18, the only player we haven't mentioned is Sam Heaslett.
Hazlett. One
He's
day
been
team.
out of
He's
the
a very
running
impressive
for a
one day
while.
player, but tests? Nah.
Nah.
No way.
He
His
bats
last day, he's pretty good, right?
Hazlett was batting. He was like the top player of the Marsh Cup and he was injured. But he is a very impressive young batsman. I do rate him. So yeah, my 7's Carey. Arjun, have you gone with Carey too?
Yeah.
I don't think
yeah.
Carey's been amazing this year, but I think he's certainly been better than any of the other keeping options.
I mean, his average isn't too bad. It's 55.
Okay.
So I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, he only played 4 games. So
Though Josh Inglis did keep for Australia against England.
Right. I mean, you could also argue like Harper. I think it'd be maybe the next option. I think he's been decent. As has, Philippi's also playing a bit here, but not quite enough.
Philippi's not playing as a keeper though, is he?
Not sure, but I mean, he's good enough to.
In my opinion, I think Philippi will probably get a longer go in the Test side than the Carey.
Good.
I think Philippi's like struggling to still get into the WA team, right?
Yeah.
On his batting, so I don't think he's in the picture just yet.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay, so bowlers. I'll go through all my bowlers. I've gone for 4 fast bowlers again because we have no legitimate good spinning options for this team. I don't think anyone deserves to be in our best 22 out of the spinners we have available. So I've gone for Stark and Nisa, obviously. And then Jackson Bird, who is, I think he was the second best player in the Shield this year on my ranking. He just gets wickets. He always gets wickets in Australia. He deserves to be in this best 22. He's not that far below Nisa. And then I've gone for Wes Agar. Big Wes Agar is my 11th pick here. He looks like a really bright young fast bowler. It was, for me, I thought about Gannon too because he got 38 wickets. But I reckon Wes Agar looks very, very dangerous. I watched him play Tasmania when he rolled us. I think
Gannon will choose the US instead.
I think he could when our main 4 or 5 retire, he could easily be playing for Australia in Test cricket. He looks very promising. Arjun, your 4 bowlers?
So yeah, I got Nisa at 8, right, and Pattinson was my other guy I mentioned, and I'm still pretty torn between Bird and Agar as well. Because Bird has got that experience, and you could argue that he's pretty unlucky. Like he was the 3rd guy, and then Cummins came back.
Yeah, I mean, he played a Boxing Day Test against in the Ashes, didn't
he? Yeah, and Agar, Agar had an amazing summer. Where's Agar?
Yep.
So either could work. And then I have that spinner just because, because there's no one that really stands out. But it's Swepson, just because he was in the Sydney Test side. Though
Yep.
I would have wanted Ashton Agar, but he's never really materialized. I think if they ever had a subcontinental tour, they'd probably look at Ashton Agar.
Yeah, fair enough. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I've gone with 5 bowlers. So I've gone with Nassar, Pattinson, Bird, Ashton Agar, and Siddle. Obviously not in that order. But
Siddle's retired from international cricket.
Yeah.
Has he officially retired?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it would be Wes Agar then.
Okay.
But I mean, your reasons.
So Nisa, Pattinson, Bird, Agar. Who is the 5th?
Ashton Agar and Nisa.
Okay, right, yeah.
So what do you say about Ashton?
I think Ashton Agar is the 2nd best option, spin option, behind Lyon. Well, obviously he's got the perks with his batting and his fielding, but bowling-wise, he's been around the Australian squad for ages. And, I mean, obviously his stats don't reflect like the way he bowls, but I think he's all right. He's consistently getting in the right areas, but he doesn't get enough purchase off the wicket, and that may be due to the conditions. But I mean, I don't think he's been horrible. Just the conditions don't justify.
Yeah, I just don't think he's ever really got many Shield wickets.
Yeah,
I mean,
to be fair, that's the trend shown across most of the spinners in Australia, apart from
That's
okay. Well, realistically,
a
it'd
pretty
be
sad
okay,
thing,
right?
really.
Realistically, second spin option be okay, but obviously
Well,
he's
O'Keefe was
retired
the
now.
last second spinner to play in Australia.
Yeah. Well, there's Holland as well, but I think I'd put Holland and Agar on par bowling wise, and obviously Agar's got the perks with the batting and the fielding.
I mean, I just don't think he's a good enough spinner.
I think even if Sydney is pretty good at the spin, like it was okay last time, like India played too, Australia would probably still back themselves to do better with the extra pace bowler anyways.
I mean,
Like realistically, a spinner is not going to be in the second team, but you wouldn't go into a game without at least a first choice spinner. You know what I mean?
have you seen
Bowling
Tasmania
part
play
time
by
is
any chance?
Plus, you could even argue Marnus is doing a good enough job.
You should watch Tasmania in the Shield. I don't think we have a first choice spinner in the squad. We just don't give a shit. Just don't go by
Clive
Webster. He
Rose.
gets the wicket.
I mean, for some reason, I think like the conditions in Tasmania just are different to every other place in Australia.
But even away
It's
games.
not part of Australia.
It's literally like bowling in England.
Yeah, it's a lot like England actually.
Yeah.
Because the weather's the same.
That's going to be the 5th test in Tasmania.
Like they should actually hold Tasmanian tests. It's just the problem with the crowds. Obviously, they need to generate revenue in the crowds.
I mean, everyone says Tasmania has bad crowds, but it's like, yeah, because you've had
like
one
size-wise,
in 10 years, and it was the West Indies. Who were you expecting to come?
Yeah.
Not the good West Indies, the bad West Indies.
Yeah.
The Vogers and Sean Marsh getting a 300 partnership West Indies.
Yeah. The same captain though, I think. Holder.
What's a Holder? I don't even know.
Yeah. Says a lot about his.
I went to it. I was in Barry for the day of that test. I saw the start of the big partnership.
All right.
Well, that's pretty much it there. I think we're going to just start to wrap this up. We've gone for almost an hour, I think, which is more than I thought we were going to go for. It's pretty impressive. So, yeah, if anyone actually watches this, like, we're not expecting to happen, but show us your first and second 11s in the comments or whatever social media this happens to be on, because we haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
We don't even know if we're going to upload this.
Please don't cancel us for political.
You never know. This could be famous first words.
Yeah. And to the other podcast called The Chinamen, please don't copyright strike us. Thanks. Yeah. Any last words?
No, I've said all that needs to be said.
Good to hear.
All right.
Hey. Well, thanks everyone, and goodbye.